Since 1973, the National Trust has publicly promoted May as Preservation Month, 31 days to celebrate the historic places that make up the fabric of our lives. Historic Preservation Month recognizes the importance of preserving historic resources and their significance to local communities. Added to the National Register of Historic Places in August 1989, the Polk County History Center promotes historic preservation through the Historical Marker Program, programs to promote awareness and education about historic preservation, and the ongoing preservation of the historic building. To celebrate National Historic Preservation Month, enjoy learning more about the wealth of historic homes and architecture on display throughout Polk County. There are 72 properties and historic sites in Polk County, including the 1908 old courthouse, now home to the Polk County History Center. Our May Zoom and Vroom program features the Lake Wales Historic Downtown District. On this installment of the Heritage Trail, we are visiting the Lake Wales Historic Downtown area. With over a century of development and change, the commercial district is a tribute to the generosity and creativity of the people of the area. Officially incorporated in April 1917, the city was named for attorney Sidney Irving Wales, W-A-I-L-E-S. The lake still retains the initial spelling, however, the name of the town dropped the letter I, creating Wales, W-A-L-E-S. The historic downtown area is filled with historic buildings and fascinating landmarks. First, there is the Lake Wales History Museum. In 1928, the Atlantic Coastline Railroad built a depot on the embankment of the Scenic Highway. In 1974, freight service shifted to West Lake Wales Station and trains no longer stopped at the depot. However, the Spanish-style building with the red tile roof remained a landmark at the post-boom era in Lake Wales. A couple years later, the historic Lake Wales Society turned the depot building into a cultural museum, which holds an array of artifacts, documents, and photographs unique to Lake Wales. The preserved structure was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1990. Just up the street from the History Museum is the historic Crystal Lodge. Crystal Lodge was originally built as the Lake Wales Women's Club in 1920 and was located on a parcel of land near Crystal Lake. In 1938, it became home to the Lake Wales Chamber of Commerce. The building was scheduled for demolition in 1989, but was saved by the historic Lake Wales Society, who moved it to its present location on the Scenic Highway next to the Lake Wales History Museum. Just up from the historic lodge is the newly renovated 1916 Seaboard Airline Railroad Station. This building was constructed by the Seaboard Airline Railroad in 1916. The Seaboard Airline Railroad was one of two competing railroads in Lake Wales in the early 20th century. Originally located at the corner of Kissimmee Avenue and Scenic Highway, this station was critical to early development of the Lake Wales area. The rail lines brought in goods, supplies, and people to the area and carried out citrus and turpentine to northern markets. It was moved to its current location in the museum's historic corridor in 1993. Working together, the former Historic Lake Wales Society and the former Lake Wales Model Railroad Club restored the old depot. The Lake Wales Model Railroad Club held educational programs and events in the old depot to share with the community for many years. Today, it is the Mimi Hardman Collection and Research Center, dedicated for the History Museum's founder, Mimi Hardman, This new center allows for the growth and proper care of the museum's collection. More than 25,000 items in the collection are now available for public access and research, including photographs, documents, maps, many artifacts, textiles, and so much more. Other places along the Heritage Trail include the E.C. Stuart Home. The former home of Lake Wales developer and founder, Mr. E.C. Stuart, represents the Florida bungalow style, which was popular in the early 20th century. The house was moved from its former original location in 1994 as a part of the city's preservation plan. The Lake Wales City Hall, today the J.D. Alexander Center, was constructed in 1928 and served as the first city hall, housing several municipal government divisions, including spaces for the utility department, the police and jail, sanitation, and the fire station, just to name a few. This distinctive Lake Wales building was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1990 and remained in service until 1998, becoming one of the longest-serving city halls in the state of Florida. Today, the former Lake Wales City Hall is part of the campus of Polk State College. The building was renamed the J.D. Alexander Center in honor of the Lake Wales State Senator who spearheaded the effort to secure funding from the Florida legislature for its renovation. The downtown marketplace starts with the Kolb Clock Tower. Early residents of the nearby Mountain Lake Colony sisters, Sarah and Emma Kolb, felt that the growing town needed to have a centralized clock and commissioned a four-sided brick and coquina tower to house a specially designed timepiece. Dedicated in 1932, this was originally located at the corner of Park Avenue and Cypress Garden Lane, facing the beautiful vista of Crystal Lake to the east. In 1972, it was moved to its current location at the marketplace. Through the years, the clock has been maintained by several repairmen. Next on the Heritage Trail is the Dixie Wells-Built Hotel. Originally named the Dixie Wells-Built Hotel, later known as the Grand Hotel, a 10-story skyscraper stands as enduring testimony to the spirited optimism of the great Florida boom period. One of a small remaining number of historic skyscrapers constructed in Florida during the 1920s, the hotel, which originally cost $500,000, was financed through the local sale of stock in the enterprise. Its doors opened to the public in 1927, shortly after the boom had begun to collapse. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1990. Just across the street is the Lake Wales Post Office. Constructed under the auspices of the Federal Works Progress Administration, WPA, the United States Post Office is an example of the public works projects instigated by the government in the 1930s to provide work for unemployed professionals as well as for blue-collar workers. A large mural entitled The Harvest, which was painted by a member of the WPA Federal Art Project in 1942, dominates the lobby. It represents the thriving citrus industry in combination with railroad transportation, both major contributors to the economy of the area. Next on the trail is the Rose-Built Arcade. Situated between Park and Stewart Avenue, the Rose-Built Arcade was finished in 1926 by contractor and real estate agent Jesse Rhodes. The arches and swooping parapet depict the Mediterranean revival style popular in commercial buildings at the time. The Lake Wales Women's Club was founded in 1919 and met on a regular basis to discuss local issues, including health care, education, local beautification, and the importance of a library. After more than a decade of fundraising activities, combined with the pledge matching fund from the Lake Wales City Commission, this group was able to commission a permanent clubhouse. It opened in 1939, serving the club and the entire community. The building was designed by Lakeland architectural firm W.B. Talley & Son and built as a works progress administration project and sponsored by the City of Lake Wales. The Lake Wales Public Library is next on the Heritage Trail. In 1953, a group of dedicated citizens formed the Lake Wales Library Association for the purpose of opening a public library to be supported by tax funds. This goal was attained with the 1960 opening of the permanent brick structure here. The generosity of the community continued with raising funds to expand the building, which was completed in 1991. The library stands today as a cultural resource for the Lake Wales area. The mural inside the library that was completed by Tom Freeman in 1997 depicts many animals living in their natural habitat. These include the Withlacoochee, Bach Tower, the Lake Wales Ridge, and the Peace River. Other points of interest on the Heritage Trail include the Bullard Block and the Caldwell Temple Building. Located on Stewart Street, the Bullard Block became the hub of the Lake Wales Commercial District when it was constructed by B.K. Bullard in the 1920s. The building housed a barbershop, drugstore, post office, dry goods, and a meat market. The upper floors lodged municipal offices and a duck pen bowling alley. For years during the 1920s, the Caldwell building rose higher than any other in the downtown area. The Draper Furniture Company was located for many years on the first level, while the upper floors served as a meeting place for the Masonic Temple. While you're exploring Lake Wales Historic District, keep an eye out for the stunning artwork. Lake Wales is very proud of the murals that can be found throughout their city as they express the very essence that is Lake Wales. They feature anything from historic personalities to the industries and local businesses that built the city, making for a fantastic walking tour. See if you can find the newest edition titled Slice of Happiness 2020, which beautifully pays tribute to the important citrus industry. Lake Wales holds its heritage dear, with a variety of venues to offer even more historical sites for your discovery. So we invite you to hit the road and see what else you might discover in Polk County about our rich history.